Welcome back to the podcast, and you're listening to the Traveling Pants of a Single Mom. And of course, I have my girls, Tosh and Ziggy. Say hey, y'all.
Hey.
We digging in. And then we have a special guest, Mr. Corey Hall, celebrity chef.
You ain't doing
and Ziggy's gonna take
let me
honors
do
from
it.
here. Yeah, she's trying to the chicken.
Okay, let me put the chicken.
Yeah, let's put it.
Oh, you want to bite it so you can tell her what it tastes?
Okay.
We're going to wait.
We go wait. We go wait.
Go.
Okay, yes. Yes, right? It's good.
My favorite thing on this planet is grilled chicken.
Yes, it's straight off the grill.
Thank you.
It's got all that jerk on there. You're a jerk. Oh, love it. So,
okay, so she's gonna introduce.
I would like to introduce. You're not supposed to talk with your mouth. He's an author and a survivor.
Yeah.
He has survived addiction, mental illness, depression, amongst many other things. He has mastered his cooking skills and he's become a celebrity chef to many notable individuals. And he's also the younger brother actor Poochal from the TV show The Game. I know y'all remember. He was the finest one on the show.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Pooch.
Oh, it's his birthday.
Happy birthday,
Yeah.
He is such a kind and giving soul, and that's how I felt when I first met you. We met at a music event, and we just always kept in contact since then.
Nice.
He's a great person. So,
yes.
Welcome, Mr.
Celebrity
Corey
Chef.
Hall.
Thank you.
And I'm going to
Corey
do a
Hall.
quick shout out. We do have a camera guy tonight, Mr. Young Cause.
Woo woo!
Thank you for your assistance, support.
No, we on CBS.
Yes, right. You got
can't
the real
tell me
deal set up
nothing.
right now. We got the real deal set up.
Yeah, just
okay?
call me Lil Zanita X. You can't
This
tell me
be
nothing.
our little sound checks that we do. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we gonna get into it. So
The food is delicious. If you ever need a chef for an event, or y'all probably can't afford it now.
Yeah.
What's the rate?
yes, because we was talking.
It depends on the coast. Depends on the event head count. The difficulty. And also what's available. Because I always try to go with the freshest products for the lowest price, but also maintain the integrity and the highest quality.
Nice. So when you do events, do you supply the food, or is that like different pricing? How does that work?
Well, we agree upon again what's available. Are there any allergies? Because there's certain things that you can't cook. For instance, like seafood or gluten allergies, things of that nature. So the degree of technical difficulty plays a role in timing.
Nice.
So I have to take all that into account, and that's all in the prep and the planning when I sit with my clients and we agree upon a menu, and we agree upon what's the most cost effective at the highest quality, and and also get the maximize the quantity. So I do all that, and that's what I've done in a lot of restaurants. I've opened up restaurants. I've cooked in 7 countries. So, I didn't go to culinary school, so I had to learn, you know what I'm saying, on the fly.
You had to teach yourself.
I did.
What made you get into being a chef? Like what?
How to get started.
What made you do that?
I was always hungry.
Oh, okay.
Hey, for real. I was always hungry, and then, I always liked to eat food, and I always thought that I could make it better, cheaper.
Right.
And it really came into play when I was over 310 pounds, because I was diagnosed with diabetes, and I had to make a change.
Right.
So, and it starts with the food. I was always very, very active playing college football, in the military, and your diet is the fuel that gives you the strength and the energy for your output.
Yes.
So,
because you burn the AT. I took a whole.
adenosine triphosphate.
Yes.
ATP.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Jacksonville University.
Thank you, Valencia College.
Oh, that's crazy. But
do you ever want to open your own restaurant?
I do. Actually, not a restaurant, because especially here in Florida, I like because it's no military secret. On my Instagram, You know, I talk about my mental illness. I suffer from bipolar disorder, and I have to be on the move. I have to be very, very mobile. I have to be by water. If I am in a landlocked location, you know, it's I do what I got to do when I get back to Florida. So,
Oh, okay.
or any coastal cities. I really enjoy coastal cities because it's so calming, and
Okay.
the peace and serenity is it calms the beast, if you will.
I eat like a toddler.
I'm trying to be
I
right.
need a bib.
Like everywhere, like, oh my god, like if this was a date, honey, I would just get up and leave. Like,
I always embarrass myself.
It's all right.
Anyway,
You
I want to
gotta
talk
be
about.
yourself.
I want to talk about the book.
I think
So
dudes
you have
like
a,
that.
You have a book out called
I
"I
do.
Found Me," which is amazing. What made you start the book?
Because I didn't know if I was gonna live to see another day.
Wow.
Really?
it's deep.
So
That's deep.
I survived 2 suicide attempts because I thought it would be easier to not be here. You know, and come to find out, that's a lot that people that suffer from mental illness and addiction and depression go through.
Yeah.
Especially bipolar disorder, because you really can't put your finger on it at the time, and most people don't accept the diagnosis.
Right.
And then when you do accept the diagnosis, you try to appease it, in my opinion, for another. Say, for instance, a spouse, a family member, the law, whatever the case may be. But until you embrace it and understand that there is an issue, it always comes back to, in my opinion, again, that the world would be better off without your existence. And every day, that's what I would go through. You know, when I was in California, I lost my foot. I severed my Achilles tendon, and they had to remove part of my calf. And then I got up to over 310 pounds. And then I used to self-medicate with addiction. I mean, with with alcohol, which would bring me down, and then cocaine to bring me back up. So even now, I operate at such a high motor. I did when I was in college. I did to get into college. I did when I was training with the Special Forces, when I was doing flight school, when I was doing SEER in the military. I always operated at a higher level, and when I couldn't, my mind was always moving when I really couldn't keep up.
Right.
And medically, it's called manic. So, you know, with a lot of pain, I had to either one, quit, or find a way to fight back. And then that's when I decided to, like, if I can ever get myself into a position to drop over 110 pounds or better, start a company or start something that I could work towards every day, I would write a book.
Wow.
So 4 years ago, I'm coming up on 5 years sober now.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And I haven't had a major incident since I took the advice of a lot of amazing people. You know, it's not just one thing that you have to listen to. You have to listen to it, again, in my opinion. I'm speaking from my perspective because it's what works for me. You know, what works for me can't work for the next man because my 120% is not your 120% because we're just two different people. And the backgrounds that we come from make us who we are.
Right.
But we don't have to be that individual because of the choices that we're able to make today.
Right.
So I found me because I want my son to know that I'm not going to be defined by a disability. I didn't know if I was going to be here another day. So I wanted something that would be set in stone, and what better way with a book?
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah, that is very deep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I mean, speaking of, like, I have a book that I write for my kids. So all the lessons that I learned, all the things that I want to pass down to them, there's like it's on my bookshelf, and it has my name engraved on it in gold metal. So whenever I do die, my words will always be with them. They can always reference everything back to this book. It's my childhood, my parents, my siblings, my grandparents. You know, like I have so many questions about my great grandmother. I write about my grandparents and what I know about my great grandparents. So you ain't got to call ancestry.com.
Right.
I'm telling you what I know, and it's all in this
Right.
book.
So are they able to read the books now, or are they okay?
Makiah's looked at it before.
Nice,
Mhm.
nice.
So I get what you mean. You say you wrote a book for
Please do.
your son.
So what encouraged you to like how you said with having like bipolar and stuff like that? Most times people not hide it, but they don't accept it.
Right.
At what point did you realize that you had to accept that something was wrong and you needed to get, help? And
Well, that's rock bottom. It's plain and simple. Everyone's rock bottom is completely different. Some people hit rock bottom and don't come back.
right.
You know, so until you generally hit rock bottom and you decide to bounce back and go the opposite end of the spectrum, you'll never know what your bottom is. So some people go
They
so
chill
far
at the
down
bottom.
or and don't come back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And in the rooms, in recovery, they say, one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. So one more could be your last one,
Yeah.
and you may never make it to that rock bottom. 1,000 more could not be it, and you've destroyed everything around you. That still may not be your rock bottom. If you want to know what that looks like, just go look at a person on the street that is either still using, not seeking the help, or has burned so many bridges that they have no way to turn.
Right.
Or they feel they have nowhere
Nowhere
to
to
turn.
turn,
Right?
They feel they have nowhere to turn. I mean,
Because it's on you.
Yeah.
it is, at the end of the day, it's 100% on you. But some people just don't have the strength. And I used to be like that. I was physically strong. Like, people would look at me and have
Like
no
an
understanding.
ox.
Yeah. You seen the video?
Tell them about the video.
I'm sorry. My bad. Go
Oh,
ahead.
you got it on repeat, don't you?
You're right. He's
No,
built
no,
like
no.
a Greek god.
I mean, it
didn't
just
know.
caught me off guard, the video, but
Some
I'm just
people-
saying.
Oh, no, like, the reason...
Physically strong, but not mentally.
Mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the mental, the head controls the body.
Yes.
So it starts with the mental. So the post that we're talking about, I just did a post on my Instagram. My Instagram is TrueChef8384.
Really?
And-
Did you have to do that?
Sorry. I just did some commentary.
You
Go
okay?
ahead. Yeah, I'm good.
Like for real?
I'm
I'm afraid.
I can't-
I'm afraid
I
of the
can't do
shit.
like that.
I know too.
Like, I
Like,
can't get some.
But-
her tongue hanging out her mouth and everything. She all hungry.
You just ate. Eat the food.
Like, no way.
I want to eat after we record.
I'm sure you want
What
to
you
eat that.
wanna eat?
Yeah.
It's what you want, the jerk chicken? You want that meat? Or
Right,
you
what
want
you
that
trying
meat?
to eat
What kind
now?
of-
So I have to clarify.
The,
See you doing
on
too
it.
much. Oh my god.
No, I'm just joking.
Not on the show, Tasha.
No, sorry.
Wait
Go ahead.
till we turn the camera.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
my Instagram, how I came about Instagram, I didn't want to do social media. I what 10,000 other people are doing that have no bearing on my life is like, one, would cause me to lose focus on what I'm doing. So my brother, again, Pooch, big ups to Pooch, and my agent, Alexa, out of Tampa, Florida, Keith and Susan, thank you. They were like, you got to get on social media and put yourself out there if you want to be seen, especially if you want to write a book and if you want to help people. If it weren't for that, and also to show my son the work that is required,
Yeah.
but again, for each individual person, it's going to be different. There's no set path to success. There's no set path to happiness. But it's a guide. It's a light in the dark if he should so be in the dark. And that's also for anyone. So my brother was like, start your Instagram and write it like a rolling diary.
Yeah.
So he goes, if this is where you want to go, how are you going to get there? What are you going to do? He goes, you don't want to do wasted posts. You don't want to post with not being true to yourself.
Right.
And then if you want to help people, target it towards that. It's just that I do so many things. I get a lot of questions like, well, what do you do? I do whatever I want to because if I can, I will.
You're talented.
Last I checked, this greatness doesn't have any limits.
That's right.
Hello.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, just a little Nipsey Hustle moment.
Yes.
It's a marathon, like
Yeah.
you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
because you don't want to burn out, and especially now because I'm in a very, very, I'm in not tight spot, but I'm in a very fragile situation. Right now my father's 88 years old, and he's suffering from dementia, and he has to have a brain surgery, and he has had quadruple bypass surgery to where they had removed arteries from his legs
Wow.
to his heart, and that was some time ago, but now they're starting to fail. So not only do I have that on my plate, I'm also fighting what I gotta fight, trying to make auditions, trying to get my information out there to help those.
It's
And,
tough.
but guess what though? It's like I'm only experiencing what other men have met.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I may fail, but I'm gonna fall still fighting. I'm not gonna give up whatever I do. Eyes front, head high to the finish. I shall see it through.
I read the book, and I must say it really intrigued me because meeting you, when I first met you, you're so well groomed. You're so well spoken. Like I definitely wouldn't have thought that you went through most of the things that were in this book. But then again, sometimes people who go through the most things are the most refined. You know what I'm saying? So those moments have shaped you. So I want to say you battled addiction, depression, mental illness, and I also feel like from reading the book, the divorce of your parents was a big deal for you.
It was. I was a baby, you know. So I had both parents, but it. I mean, even now it's difficult to talk about because it's right there. You know, that's the first traumatic experience of my childhood was the divorce of my parents, and most children. But
Yep.
I mean, which is a shame that the ratio is different nowadays because you have so many single parents raising raising just a
The
child.
future.
Yeah, the future. Yeah, it's
Alone, and
you
it's
can't.
tough.
That's the best way to put it. You know, I mean, to anyone that reads it knows that when Frederick Douglass said, it's easier to raise a small child than fix a broken man.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
that just oh please, everything that's been done has been done before.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Now we just put different names to it. And then and we can even get it even faster because of social media and Google.
Right.
But nothing surprises me. You know, I've seen so much. I've been to 7 countries, been in the military, played college football.
So you had a full life.
Yeah, I've had a full
And
life
you're still
twice.
living.
This
Life-
you
life-
have to read the book.
Life gave me another shot because, I'm not supposed to be here.
You are supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's why
exactly,
you're
yeah.
here.
But some people have done the same exact thing that I have.
And
And
they
And they haven't made it, and they didn't make
You think
it.
they had a micro penis? I'm just playing. That's a little jokey
As
joke.
long as he don't got one, no, I'm just joking.
Oh my god. So then he got to respond.
Right, he just
Yeah.
gotta respond.
Oh,
But
okay.
he a spin off of me because I gotta respond
Oh,
with
wow.
everything.
You pick it up, I'll put it down. We're down like 4 flats.
Listen, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Mhm.
All blow back all the way out. Like,
Mhm.
okay, come on, y'all.
Okay,
Get back
well,
on task.
Okay. Okay, so which illness or which hurdle was the hardest
Yeah.
for you to overcome? Because they all
Yep.
seem hard.
Mm.
There was really no one in particular because they all ran together.
So
No,
it's just
it's like-
one.
It was like one. Put it this way: I had to create a routine
Mm-hmm.
which tackled all of them because when I went to recovery, they told me I had to change only one thing, to get to where I'm at,
Really?
and that was everything.
Okay.
Because
Makes sense.
what I had been doing up to that point hadn't
Wasn't
worked.
serving you.
It hadn't worked. So you got to make a drastic change. So at the time, my wife and my son was born. I decided that I had to go back down to South Florida at Palm Partners, and go through treatment for the 5th time. So it's like, the straw that broke the camel's back. It wasn't crashing my motorcycle. It wasn't being arrested. It wasn't almost overdosing. It was when a man looked at me and said, if you're not going to be here, another man is going to raise your son.
Hello. What
And-
did
Yeah,
you
but
say?
and that just broke it for you.
That was
That,
it.
that,
That
was
just,
the
that just made me like that day. One of my attorneys, Saeed, appreciate it. My wife was on the other side of the world in Penang, and I couldn't I literally was in a depression to the point where, again, I didn't want to be here. This would have been my third attempt. And he came over. He said, "Dog, you leaving today?" I said, "Let's go." And then I hadn't looked back.
I remember that.
And then, Saeed, he was like, always ride or die with me. He was always like, you need that person in your corner. Even though, like, when you're suffering from a depression, in my opinion, you want to be alone. You want to,
right.
When you're secluded.
you want it in a dark place. You just want it to change and the pain to stop.
Right.
But when you're in depression, you're not doing anything
To change.
to change. So sometimes the people that you want to push away have to fight and stop enabling. Some people enable, some people do whatever to ease the pain, put a Band-Aid on an open artery, and it's not gonna work. But then again, the person has to want to change.
Change you.
And it's not that just to change for the moment, because that will stop the people, the spouses, the cops, from whatever, from watching you, from looking at you to see if you're slipping or waiting for you to slip. And and actually, when I went to recovery, I did have a relapse. I did 60 days, and then something like just out of the blue happened, and then next thing you know, I relapsed again, and I went to my man. I told him, and he was like, "You want to go back to treatment?" I said, "Yes, I do." And then from then, 5 years ago, coming up on 5 years, I hadn't looked back.
Nice.
And you were someone who wanted help, so and it took you what 4 or 5 times to actually completely be done with it.
No, I'm not completely done with it. Every day I got
Every day, the rest of your life.
Yeah. I mean,
struggle with it for the rest of your life.
I was gonna say that.
well, I'm not struggling. It's just that it's just
Yeah,
that
we got the
I know.
drinks all in front of them.
Oh no, that don't bother me. It's on me. It's
It can be better.
consistency.
Right.
Some people, like, I've got to be very selfish. You know what I'm saying? But I know how I am. I mean, back in the day when I was online, it was taught the 12 P's. Piss poor preparation promotes a piss poor performance. Piss poor performance promotes pain. Proper preparation promotes pleasure. So I live that every day, along with the poem "See It Through." See it through. When you're up against the trouble, meet it squarely face to face. Lift your chin, set your shoulders, clench your feet, and take a brace. When it's vain and try to dodge
to
it.
bite.
Hmm?
Does that mean to? I'm sorry. Finish.
Oh no, it's just life. When you're up against the struggle, meet it squarely face to face. Lift your chin, set your shoulders, clench your feet, and take a brace. And when it's vain and try to dodge it, do the best that you can do. You may fail, but you may conquer. See it through. Black may be the clouds about you, and your future may seem grim. But do not let your nerves desert you. Keep yourself in fighting trim. When the worst is bound to happen, in spite of all that you can do, running from it won't save you. See it through. Even hope may seem futile when the trouble's yet beset. But remember, you're only facing just what other men have met. You may fail, but fall still fighting. My son, don't give up whatever you do. Eyes front, head high to the finish. See that shit through.
Yes.
So that's what I got tattooed on me.
Nice.
And I tattooed it on me because I've had so much trauma mentally and physical. I crashed a motorcycle, multiple concussions playing football. I was carjacked in Jacksonville. I mean, I've been through it, but you're still not gonna hear me, spit out excuses with your tools of incompetence. So why? Because my son, I ain't gonna let my son spit it.
Right.
Because why? Because I want him to be a leader and to lead.
How old is he?
He's 6 now.
Nice.
He speaks flawless with a proper British accent. Yeah, that's my man.
Aww. Nice.
So cute.
So what would you tell those out there that's struggling with addiction? Like what, other than, because the poem was amazing, but what would you tell them, like how to get on board and make some changes in their life?
What's the first step?
Yeah.
Right.
First step is stop using.
Okay.
No. Stop. Like, stop. Just make a conscious effort to stop. Then you have to seek the help.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't, in my opinion, be hitting something, whatever, on your way to see somebody. Mentally train yourself to be like, okay, here's my starting point.
Say no.
You know what I'm saying? On your own accord. You can't stop when somebody else tells you to stop. When does that work?
That's kind of hard though, because
Yeah.
I mean, it's easier said than done.
What in life is hard.
I know.
That's why it's called
Because
life.
it's like not only like with opioid abuse or drug whatever, but also with like even eating. Because there's so many times I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna eat that, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But it's like it's mentally hard, especially when you have it surrounded by you.
And
I mean,
peer
there are
pressure.
times, and you can get sick. You know, when you do get sick, those are the times, like you said, you hit right by and get sick, and you lay it at me like, you know what, I'm done. And it'll last maybe about a month or two, you know, but then it'll be that one thing. It's kind of like now, like I'm telling y'all, like, okay, I did away with meat, and I'm like, all right, I want to be done with meat, and I've done it so
You
many
did
times.
this before.
I've done it so many
Right.
times before, but it's at one time.
Right.
And then and I think, like you say, you have to be done is because you have to be assured, like strong with yourself.
Right.
It's kind of like you guys saying, just try, you know what I mean?
Because we
But
just peer
you,
pressure
right,
you.
people
Yeah.
gonna peer press you. It's no big
But,
deal.
I
I
mean-
mean, at one time, you have to be strong for yourself, and
But
you
it's
have to
real.
be like mean it. Like, you know
Right.
what, I'm done. If I don't drink, I don't drink. If I
But
don't,
you know what? It's embedded in you. Like you can do it because let's talk about what you saying that you don't drink no more.
Right.
You are stern about it. Like there's nothing we could say to say, Tosh, just
I don't
take
think
a
she
drink.
likes the way it tastes.
No,
No,
no.
she-
I just found, like alternatives. So I have different things that I know, but it's also a mental thing. Like you said, like it's a thing you have to tell yourself. Like I tell myself, like, why do I need to drink? Like, what's my reasoning to drinking? And one of the things that I kind of, what puts it in place for me not to drink, I know that it alters, my emotions, my, physically,
Yeah.
how everything. So it's like I don't need it to alter any. I don't want my mind to be altered. I don't want I want everything to be the way it needs to be
Right.
intact. So I don't drink. Believe me, I love the way wine. I love wines
Yes,
and
you
stuff
do.
like that. Drinks, but it's like there's no big. I don't need it.
Right.
Do I need it? No, I don't need
No.
it.
And
You
that's
don't
what I'm
need
saying
anything.
is in you. So if you want to stop drinking eating the meat or whatever else the
Right.
things, you
Right.
already got it in you because you are very, like set.
But you
on,
you tend to slip.
Sometimes.
That's why I'm like.
But
for
you
the
don't
people-
you don't be slipping though. Like
I do,
With
I
us.
do.
with the alcohol.
No, with alcohol.
No,
that's what I'm
I'm
talking
saying
about.
in general, like with, you have your moments, like you
Yeah,
backslide.
I know,
So
yeah.
like he's saying, it sounds so easy, but I know there's people out there that are
Yeah.
they're struggling. It sounds so easy to just say. And the good thing, I think the people that do come out of it is the ones that got that friend. Like you had that friend,
Right.
that one person that's really. And shout out to that person because
Yeah.
somebody that could really be there and know the struggle,
Mhm.
but is willing to ride with you till you know what I mean.
Till
You're
the
better,
end, right.
so you can handle yourself. Because if you don't have that
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 support.
person that support, especially if you got friends that are like, well, if you want to do it, because you got some friends that are like, well, I can't stop them.
Right.
You want to
right.
do it. I told
Right.
you what to do, and you don't want to do it.
So
But
they let you.
yeah.
So like being around alcohol and people that's drinking, that doesn't bother you at all.
It doesn't.
I feel like a horrible person right now.
Why?
Why?
Because we got the alcohol out parading.
But
and
if you
drinking.
but if you don't drink, it's kind of like me. If that's
Yeah,
the case,
if
it's
you
the same thing
don't-
with me. You guys can talk all day. It doesn't bother me. I have it in my refrigerator.
Yes, but he had an addiction and he had to get over it too. He's been
No. See, alright. Let me explain.
Okay.
People self-medicate to cope.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Facts.
In my experience, for me, again, I'm only going to speak from my perspective.
Right.
I was going through if you're sick, what do? You go to the doctor and they give you something for it.
Right.
Or if
Not
you're in the
if you're
street
me.
and you can't get to the doctor,
You
well,
gonna
you
use
can
something
go
else.
use
Mhm.
what's
Knock it
accessible
right on off.
and what's going to do the trick as hard and as quick as possible.
Right.
My addiction wasn't I don't like drinking. I never did. And the reason why I use cocaine because it's a mind altering substance that worked quick.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Really? How quick?
Look.
instantaneous.
I've never done drugs before.
Instantaneous.
Cocaine. People call
Wait,
it
cocaine, that's the one you snort?
Yes.
Okay.
You can snort it, smoke it, shoot it.
Oh wow.
Cocaine, I'll break down cocaine. And this is not war stories. Cocaine is a very powerful stimulant.
Mm.
So the first time you use cocaine, it changes your chemical imbalance, and your endorphins, which give you that rush of excitement. Whether you can get endorphins from winning the lottery,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can get endorphins
Shopping.
from sex,
Mm-hmm.
Sex.
from food,
Right.
from
Watching videos
whatever
on Instagram.
that brings your endorphin level up. Now imagine if you're having sex and your levels are here. For instance, that's something we can all
Don't
generally
you say
relate
it,
to.
Chef. Don't you say it.
So
Don't you say it.
cocaine.
No.
No, I'm trying to tell you. Like as
No.
excited as you can be about.
So dumb.
No,
I'm trying to give
way
you.
up there.
it don't take you there.
If you for a person
It's
that
better
uses
than sex.
cocaine, you
Just
you
say
can yes
It's better than sex.
yes.
Look at that.
Wow.
You're on that level. You're
Oh,
on
You
that
on
none
that,
of
you
that
on that,
then.
but then
Here.
again, but it's whatever is your ish is
Yeah.
better than whatever than it is.
So you
mine.
would have chosen cocaine over sex though?
all day.
Really?
But listen,
Yeah, I guess it's
if
right.
it's taking you from
Here
here
to here.
But it's
Like,
like
if sex
sex
got you
is-
right here, you could go, yeah,
Yeah,
And you going over there you going from 0 to 100 real quick.
real quick. Real quick.
You know, sex is a gradual lead up.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
put this
Right,
in your system.
right.
You
That's
put this in
it.
your system.
Bomb.
My man is just
bad.
because literally
that's crazy.
just like just like amphetamine, or just like amphetamine is stronger than coke. You know, coke is they're two different species. But
Really?
yeah,
That-
amphetamines have a shorter.
That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, but you know, I'm no expert. I'm only speaking from personal experience. Like for me, my mind was to the point where I didn't want to be anymore.
So-
And how do I get? I mean, the medications that they were prescribing me, one didn't treat what I was diagnosed with, and two took too long to work.
Right, right.
So while I'm sitting there, insomnia, I suffer from
Right.
depression, insomnia, I had diabetes,
Bipolar.
You name it.
bipolar, and depression. So I'm taking like 9 medications.
Wow.
The point where I again don't advise this against AMA. It's called against medical advice. Was where I stopped all my medications. I was on so many medications that it rivaled a meal, and I had to stay, had to keep a certain level statistically so it would be working.
Okay.
So here's the thing: I was on so much medication, it ate a hole in my stomach. So it's like, Dad, what do you do? Now they're telling me that.
You gotta take more medication.
Right.
Yeah. No.
But
Now it's to the point because I had been on these medications for so long that they wanted to cut out a portion of my stomach, remove the ulcered section, and then
Oh.
I'm like, yo, why don't you just change the medication? I said, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. You know what I'm saying? So again, against medical advice, I took this in my hands. I took my fate into my hands. They were like, you've been on so much medications that are so strong. If you start these medications all of a sudden, you could die. I was like, well, I'd rather die than have
Keep
y'all cut
taking
out my
them.
stomach.
If you keep taking them, it sounds like you'll die.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to take my fate back in my own hands. I'm going to be the master of my fate and the captain of my soul. If I die, I'm going to die on my own 2 feet. So that's what I did. And my frat brother, he gave me a bike. And again, I was up to about 310 pounds. I stopped all the medication.
Oh, wow.
They were like, you can have seizures, whatever. But I'm like,
They want
went to
keep
my,
taking them.
I
Warmer because
Did you experience any of those things that they said?
had a heart attack.
Oh
No way.
Yeah, so
Did you put that in the book?
yeah.
I read this whole.
And that's because you were so like dependent.
Was
on
it that?
No, it was well, cocaine again is stimulant. It affects your brain and the heart. I cut that, and then
Okay.
Oh,
It's
so
from
you cut
cutting
everything.
everything.
I cut
out.
everything.
Okay,
I cut everything.
Going through withdrawals can kill you.
Yeah, but I wasn't going through withdrawals. It's just that I had done so much trauma to my body.
You didn't know how to be self.
And
It-
but that's what I'm
Right.
saying. Withdrawals, you're removing that crutch.
Right.
Yeah, but it had been removed. It's just that my body hadn't caught up to my mind.
Okay.
So you still have, put it this way, some people still could have, say for instance, if you smoke weed, the THC is stored in your fat cells if you smoke enough of it. So literally, you could pop positive sometime later after you've already quit smoking weed because you're burning the fat, which has to be released.
Oh wow.
So
Wow.
for me, cocaine out the system, alcohol out the system. My mind is starting to heal. I'm 310 pounds. I'm with my dog and 20 miles out the gate. So I generally ride my bike about 20 miles. I try to ride it every day, or as best I can. And
because I operate at such a high frequency, I do that before. I've always done it about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning because that's what time I get in the military. And then I can start my day and be okay to where that's what the medication was supposed to do. So they told me to change one thing. I switched the medication with a medication that I'm accustomed to, that worked. So that's the exercising. I've lost 110 pounds. I'm riding 20 miles, and my body is starting to heal. Every day I got to make it heal. You know, because I made those changes. When I was paralyzed, I was.
You was paralyzed?
Yeah, I got paralyzed.
Damn. How the hell?
That's the second part of the book. That
I
book's
gotta read it.
No. That.
Oh, that's
Remember,
not.
remember the rolling
The
diagram?
rider.
My Instagram. It's my second book.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
So
But I got your third book though.
no. Oh, I got a third book. It's a cookbook. Third book is a kid's cookbook.
You have
Oh,
to
wait,
do
wait.
a book about overcoming addiction. Period. All about that. I swear.
I could write several books.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's it costs.
Yeah.
That's true.
You
Well,
cost.
next book you're gonna get a publishing deal.
Wait.
Yes.
How did you get paralyzed? Like, what happened with the was it the accident, the motorcycle
No,
accident?
that's
No.
next to book. We
Oh,
ain't
that's
talking about
next.
that.
Oh, we
next
can't
time.
talk about it. Okay.
All right, no, ready?
We'll save that. We'll save that for
World
the
premiere. World premiere.
Well,
Okay.
here's the thing. Here's
world premiere.
the power of the mind. I'll give you a quick outlook on my second book. Like here's the big catalyst of the book. I was paralyzed. I had an anomaly on my spinal cord, which caused me to be paralyzed from the mid-sternum down. Okay. Not gonna go into what happened with that. I mean, legally, there's some things I got to touch up with my lawyer before I can speak on. Then I had to move in with my father who was having a surgery, and then I got hit by a car on my birthday.
Damn.
Can't make it up.
Shut up.
So then I'm recovering from the original paralysis. I get hit by a car, and then 6 months later, I'm going through my physical therapy. I get hit by another car.
Oh wow.
So the power of the mind can overcome what you think is impossible. You just gotta work.
You need a short film, bro.
Yeah.
You need a
A
film.
long film.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
You need a whole short film. Unless you've done it again. His
Right.
face.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely need to continue, but
Keep going.
we're gonna
Take a little
take a
break.
little break.
Yeah.
We'll be
and
back
This
this
one,
With a bricky
it's
break.
too good to make this short.
I know. We gotta get more info.
Yeah.
Our show's to be over by now.
Right. Absolutely.
That was only the first question I had.
No, Ziggy.
Cause Ziggy the only one that read the book, y'all. Cause we didn't get a copy till today. So Ziggy.
You
got
could
it.
have borrowed my book.
We
That's an
could've.
excuse.
We could have borrowed it. No, but you was reading it and taking notes.
No, that's because you.
Okay, go ahead with the
try to-
question. Go ahead with the question. I was
excuse.
just trying to say, geez. Next question.
Anyway, okay. So, so it seems like you had a really good early life up until your parents' divorce. But you did say that you didn't know then, but you know now that your mother was battling the same disease.
Yes.
How was that?
My mother was very, very strong. My father was just a very authoritative figure. And at one time I actually sat with my mom, and she battled from depression, low self-esteem issues.
That's all.
And
That's
so-
like 98% of women.
But she self-medicated to the next level
Oh wow.
Okay.
with alcohol. Nothing else to my knowledge. And one time I actually sat with her, and it was when I was in high school because my father and my brother went to jail, which means yeah.
What? That was the next question.
Go
I
ahead.
mean, just okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
It was
So
the
I
day.
Yeah, I moved to Florida with my father's side of the family, and I was gonna go start my life in Florida. Like Florida, I've always loved Florida. Florida's always gonna be my home. I knew that from when I was a baby, and it was like my mother wanted me back home in Boston, but my father was kind of. It's funny because my father wanted me to get an education up north. It's got a lot of the best schools. It's got a lot of the best medical schools. And that's where he wanted us.
You wanted to go get into the medical field?
I did.
Oh.
I did. I wanted to. Well, actually, I wanted to be to work with like DNA and biology and
Forensic science.
things of that nature. Yeah, I mean, I was on the first groundbreaking thing that they were doing at Boston University when they were doing DNA research to where they were finding the cure for, or trying to find a cure for HIV by synthesizing amphibian and reptile blood because it's immune to the disease. So I was there for that. I was like 16. I'm like, I love animals.
That's cool.
You know, so and that's what I thought I wanted to do, and I would have stayed, but Boston University cut their football program. So I was like, Florida it is. But when I was a child, when my father and brother went to jail, I moved down here to Florida to live with my father's sister, which is in the book. Coming up on the school year, my mother wanted us back, and I was really missing my brother. Because me and my brother, you know, we did everything together.
Right.
And I mean, most brothers do with not that big of an age gap. You know, they kind of run together.
How old is your brother? You're 40.
He's older than me.
He's older than you? Yeah, he said you're his younger brother.
Yeah, he said he the youngest.
I'm the little fluffy big brother. So, like I always tell.
It's only two of you guys?
No, my sister just died last year.
Oh,
She
wow.
Was it your mother and your father's daughter? It was just
No,
your
it
father's
was-
daughter.
No, it was just my mother's daughter.
What? I don't remember you talking about her in the book.
Because she hadn't passed yet.
But you didn't talk about her like at all.
She's in the opening. Yeah. She's in the.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. I did. Like when my father and brother went to jail, I wanted to move to Florida, and I didn't have I didn't have a great relationship with my mother because
Because of her
I was
illness, you think?
yeah, from the drinking and from the traumatic environment.
You said you blamed her in this book.
I-
As a kid, you said you blamed
As a kid,
her
I
for
did.
divorce.
As a kid, because, you know, she couldn't stop drinking, and in my opinion, it was the drinking that caused all the issues. So when I moved back to Boston, I was going to school again, playing football. My brother got me into football, and she told me, she said that she felt inferior and that she could never measure up to my father's expectations, which is why she self-medicated. It eased the pain, and which is, in my opinion, why most people consume or wind down with a beverage or whatever. It dulls the senses so that you can cope.
Right.
But and for me, what lets me know that I'm alive is pain.
Right.
So
I do have a question. Like, what are your coping mechanisms now? Like, say for example, when you go through regular life things, you're in a relationship or, you know, things don't go your way, like how do you cope instead of going back to that life? What do you do to keep on that path?
I stay very, very consistent. You know, my goal is this. My goal is to get a cooking show. My goal is to be on TV. My goal is to do this, that, and the third. So I can reach as many people with my message. I could care about the fame. You know, I don't want to be famous. I want to be legendary with the work that I'm doing. You know, to help my fellow man because they're to inherit the future, especially, you know, for my son. So my name, I want my name to mean something.
Right.
And that will come with the work that I put in. So how I cope is I plan to the best of my ability everything. You know, as again, I've had so much mental trauma, and I make steps, and I keep logs and journals. Some people call it anal, whatever. I could care. It works for me. You know what I'm saying? So if it doesn't work for me, I can't help anybody else.
Right.
So that's what I do. Also, like going to environments that aren't healthy for me.
Yeah. You have
Going out
to
to
be
the
very
clubs.
selective
Yeah.
about it.
If the contract doesn't bring me to a place to where I need to be, I'm not there.
Do you still go to like I don't know, meetings to
Outings or
No, what I do
Like
now,
you
for like AA and NA meetings.
yeah, like do you still
No.
do those type of things? Or
Well, what I do, I do motivational speeches.
Okay.
You know, I help people nowadays because everyone has a phone. I reach people through Instagram
Yeah.
all over the world. I get because I can literally tag anyone and have my book in that part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then not to mention the link to my book on Amazon is at the top of my page. So I'm hitting it from as many angles as I can, which keeps me busy.
Right.
First is my sobriety and my health. Second is my dad. Third is showing my son that I can do all of this while striving to be on film, striving to get that next interview, that hosting audition. Because at one point I was 310 pounds and the doctors told me that I would never work again. Over $60,000 was written off in student loans because my bipolar case was so severe.
Wow.
And I'm here today with these amazing women doing the damn thing because
Talking about
life gave me another shot.
Right.
Hello.
talking about amazing.
I believe
Right,
you.
yeah.
I believe you created your shot.
Right, he did. He did.
Of
That's-
course.
You
Yeah,
gave
I mean-
yourself a shot
Mm-hmm.
I did.
because
And
it was easy for you to say, "Forget it."
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't do that to little man. Who can do what I can do better
You
than
gotta
me?
be strong.
Right.
And that's not to be conceited or anything.
But
Like
it's the truth.
it's just how
Can't
I feel.
nobody
It's the
parent their
mindset.
child like you.
You know, it's the renegade mindset that I have. You know, because nobody's gonna take any food out of my mouth because the food that I put in me fuels what I have to do so my son can live.
Right.
Talking about amazing women, what's your dating life like?
Uh-oh.
My who?
Your dating,
Dating
life?
life.
My dating life,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
my dad,
Hello.
and my sobriety.
Wow.
I hear that.
Right? If I can't do something for myself, how can I bring another person? Because generally, when you deal with other people, that means you're dealing with their
Everything
that they
emotions.
come
You know what I'm saying? If
Right.
you can't fully invest into something, why bother?
Yeah.
Is there gonna be a time when you feel like you could do that, or is that something that
Well,
that's how you feel right now?
Here's where, I mean, if you most people when you look, you never find what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
When you do what you're supposed to be doing, it either comes
to you.
or
Slap
guess
you
what?
in the
You
face.
still you were happier because you didn't put up with some
With
bullshit
BS.
that you didn't have to.
Yeah.
I can take care of myself just fine without the headache.
So, but I mean, reality is.
Bye.
Do you avoid? Do you guys avoid? Do you avoid women altogether? Like
No,
do you-
no. I'm just focused.
So do you
That's
like-
how he got here.
Right, but I
Right.
mean, does he let? I mean, reality is though. I'm sure you have one because you know, like when you see that little post you have.
Right.
So,
You
are
like
you
that
trying?
style,
Wait.
you know?
So y'all trying to say she's fine?
I'm
He is fine. He's
Okay,
a
that's what
man.
they're
So I'm
trying to
saying,
say.
obviously,
Hey,
women
you're fine.
come at you. Reality is, you could be strong, but you have women
Question
that may
say.
come at you.
Right.
They want to date. What is your? And I want to know this for
You wanna
myself.
throw
Like,
it
how
back?
do you
All
keep yourself
Trying to
composed?
figure
Like,
out if it's
do
a
you-
micro.
right? Do you let them know, like, hey,
You
I'm
know
Grease
what?
the
we
chat.
can date, but huh?
Okay, so you want her to stop?
You want me to stop? No, I was just trying to.
Yeah, shut
Create
up.
the-
Let me
I was trying to create the
No, but on a
scene.
serious note,
Right.
though, on a serious note, because it is good that you are focused. I like that, and it's and reality is for some people out there that are trying to remain focused, because you do have men out there. What a lot of women don't understand is you do sometimes have men that they feel like if they're not where they need to be,
They
they
Yeah.
can't take a relationship
Right.
serious. So from a woman's point, like looking at you as a man, that is, you know,
I
this is your
understand
thing. I do want to understand, like, how do you? Because I'm sure women come to you and you know you
Right.
might be nice, blah blah
Oh,
blah.
yeah.
How do you keep yourself composed? Do you still date, or just tell them like I'm not trying to do that right now, or do you kind of like okay we can boogie?
I don't think you gotta
but it's
say
not
nothing. You
serious?
just stay focused on what he focused on.
Let him answer. I want to hear
Okay.
his response because we ain't man. He's the man. So
That's
I want to know
true.
his response to that.
Yeah, you got.
It's in
rice
the book.
on.
It's in the book.
I
It's in the
flipped
book.
that over and let me look at that.
Let me see.
Keep going.
So if you just keep going, you can rise above adversity and thrive. So you just keep. That's it.
That's what I'm pushing. I'm pushing this right now. I'm focusing on my son.
He keep
And-
telling you the same thing.
So in other words,
Like
he's
that.
saying he ain't dating.
Right. So like he's.
He don't
focused.
have to say anything.
Listen, like
It
he
is
said,
what
when it
it
hits
is.
you in the face, like when it. He focused
like-
on what he
it's
has
like-
to focus on,
Be-
and if something happens naturally, it happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Or-
but even though it's still, the likelihood of that right now is slim to none. My father is 88 years old.
Mm.
I just got a divorce, and
Oh, you
my
just
son
got
is
a
6 years
divorce.
old in London.
Okay.
So who in their right mind would want to come into that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When most relationships fail because somebody can't pay attention to the other person.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
could have all the money in the world, but
Right.
cash wants your time.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't have that. You know, I'll let you know.
But at least
Straight
you're
up.
honest though,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
have a lot
Well,
of men that
like
not.
here's the thing: most people, you know, for the sake of ass, will run through lava.
Most
Right.
dudes,
Right.
they
Will run through
tiptoe around
lava.
it.
Yo,
And they already know that.
after what I have come from, I'm telling you, yo, if you work on you and save yourself the headache, you will have a
Better
better
future.
life.
Yeah, quality of life.
Yeah, but some people just are just incapable. Some
Yeah.
people just need pain
Mm-hmm.
or cause pain. You have to have your eyes wide open to see it.
I
And then
feel that.
some people, you know, say, "Oh, I don't like this, I don't like that." But when the door's closed, they're doing all that. Just I'm not just for the gram.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't got time for it. You know what? The reason why I keep going so hard is because it's for my son first.
Right. Nice. So we enjoyed having you on the show tonight. We gotta definitely.
I wanted to ask a question.
Oh, you wanna?
Sure.
Oh, you. Sorry.
man,
Go ahead.
Radio Raheem, what's up?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I just want your perspective on the social media aspect in relationships. How do you feel that affects relationships? All right, let me not even bring the racial part into it, but at social media in general, how do you feel it affects one's potential relationship or one's relationship that they're in already, based off of things that you've seen? Because social media to me plays a big part. What do you think?
Well, for me, if like again, I'm using my social media for something else, but for the average person, if you've got a social media page with no direction, you just want to be seen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You just want
You know
attention.
what I'm saying? I like.
How do you feel it affects relationships nowadays? Because when we
I don't
we
really.
had this
I don't know why.
back
I mean,
in
you
the day.
can't do anything without somebody seeing it.
It's messing up
I mean, you
relationships.
truly can't. But you know what I'm saying? It's just that
Right.
I mean, you could be, doing dirt, or somebody could think you're doing dirt. It's just social media just opens you up.
lot.
Yeah.
Actually, you open yourself up too much
Yeah.
for
the world.
scrutiny.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I'm not gonna argue with somebody that ain't paying my bills or
Hello.
have no bearing on my life. So it's on the individual. I mean, I don't really care who. I mean, I can block.
I didn't know you was a
Keep it
preacher
moving.
too.
I just don't have time for stupidity.
Church.
But but to each is
Yeah.
their own.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just don't come with me with the foolishness because I'm not that Hollywood.
We up here on that vibration level. So if you on the Instagram just for attention, it's
Yeah.
you're not gonna be up here in the circles with us. You're gonna be down here where people who need
Yeah,
attention.
I mean, it's just like you have ecosystems.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why people tag who they tag. They want to be in that group. I create my own lane. I'm the sexiest chef. Why? Because that's just how I feel. Prove me wrong.
no,
Not that.
Tosh and Toscan proved you right. They said chef is fine.
Well, I wanted to, create something to stand out. I don't need a crowd to rock. You know what I'm saying? To rock a party.
Right.
I go there and shut it down myself.
Right.
Hello.
Nice.
Okay, I have to ask one last question
Okay.
because he spoke about his brother and his dad. Oh, okay. His brother and his dad going to jail. You have to tell about that day that you came home from school, the day that changed your life.
When they were arrested.
That's what it is.
All right, I remember that. And on my Instagram, again, my Instagram is TrueChef8384, and my culinary page, my professional culinary page is at ECH_culinary_artistry. You can go and see all my work on there, and also my second book, which is a compilation of all my posts. The post that she's referring to was very traumatic for me. I was approximately 10, 11, and the hill isn't as big now because I've been back there since. I was coming over a crest to my street because I was coming home. Street lights about to come on, and I see. It looked like a movie scene. Yellow tape, megaphone, the cop cars, and I'm trying to run. Like, yo, that's my house. You know what I'm saying? That's not support. I mean, my next door neighbor was a cop. We had never been in trouble before. My dad was always a hothead, but that ain't nothing new. I've never experienced anything like this other than what was on TV. But it was, I seen, keep in mind I'm going back to when I was 10. What I think I saw, it was, when you have a trauma, you block it out.
Right.
I mean, why? Because just like when you go into shock, you pass out. You know, so I'm trying to recollect from a 10-year-old's perspective as best I can. I think I remember seeing my brother and my father coming out in handcuffs. And I'm running through the cops. There were so many cops and detectives. I think every cop in the city of Brockton, Massachusetts was at my house.
They showed up, huh?
And, you know, just me. My mother wasn't there. My mother and my father had divorced by that time. My brother was... I didn't know what happened. I didn't have anywhere to turn to. So I'm sitting there like... And then my father's girlfriend at the time. You know, see,
You didn't like her, you said.
Nah. I truly didn't. That's another story. But I was alone. Straight up.
And he was 10.
Yeah, 10.
Good baby.
You know what I'm saying? So...
So you wouldn't, your mom wasn't an option?
She was dead.
No.
Divorced.
Yeah, divorced. Yeah.
So she wasn't there.
She wasn't there. Yeah, she was. They had lived apart, but by this time, you know, the word spread. It would have spread far quicker if it was today, you know. But back in the day, you know.
Right.
You on the fifth number, you know, on the big phone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The phones that your parents used to be like, pick up the other phone and hear you in the other room. Just like, back in the days. But it was, I was alone. That's just a fact of the matter.
Wow. I mean, you guys have to, where can they go and get the book, I Found Me?
I Found Me. You can DM me. I've recently gone ahead and I want to personalize the copies that I want to send out to the people. Because you can go to Amazon, you can go to Barnes & Noble, order it, but I've got the copies and I've got the access to where if you DM me, I can go ahead and create a rapport with you and get a feeling and write a personal message to you. I feel it means more. You know, it's granted, you know, everything costs, you know. And
I would say support the book. He was giving me one for free, but I paid for it because I like to support black business.
But I appreciate that. But I want my message out there that, you know, my blood, sweat, and tears is why I'm grinding. And what I can get for the book, I charge $17. But if I have to mail it out, I might have to go up a little bit. But that's okay.
The book's $20.
It's worth it.
Right.
It's worth it in my opinion for the simple fact that statistically, 1 out of every 3 people either suffers from addiction, mental illness, or a disability.
Right.
1 out of every 3. That's either somebody you know, or somebody you're related to, or somebody you don't know that you just happen to be next to. That's technically everybody in the world. So the more you know, the more you're worth, in my opinion.
Right.
And then
yes.
knowledge, as they say, is power.
Yep.
So you could actually see something, especially in a family member, or even in a child, to where you can now go get the necessary help instead of waiting and medicating your child with Ritalin and this, that, and the third, and expecting a miracle to work instead of you doing your due diligence. And I'm not saying anybody that's not. I'm just saying that I'll leave no stone unturned to take care of my son. So I know that I'm 5 years sober. I've lost 110 pounds. I've survived 2 car crashes, paralysis, and my son can see it because I'm here. Nice. A lot of amazing people helped me get here, and it's. I can only keep it if I give it back.
Nice.
Well, speaking of giving back,
can you sign our book?
Can you sign the books for the?
Can we get some?
I need some barbecue sauce because I saw it with thumbprint.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's dope.
So we are going to wrap it up.
Yes.
We want to thank you for taking the time out to come and sit with us. The food was amazing. I wish you guys could have
Thank you for the
tasted.
food.
You can. You can. If y'all need to book me, feel free. You can either go through my agent, that's Alexa, or Ben's Modeling, or My Fab New York, or shoot me a DM. And we'll go from there.
Nice.
But
nice.
again, I just want to say thank you. I greatly appreciate the time. And
It
to
was
those,
amazing.
It's been amazing.
to those that are struggling, ask for help.
Yeah.
To an excellent guest.
Mr. Corey Hall.
Thank you.
All right. So, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for listening to the Traveling Pants of a Single Mom, and we out.
Peace out.